my name is Ken Fickler. I'm the founder and CEO of Gaze, and today we're going to be talking about the impact of cannabis use on workers' compensation risk. So many employers are worried about this, and as they consider how their workers' comp risk looks in light of cannabis legalization, there are many questions that come up. The bottom line, though, is that employers can avoid extremely costly workers' comp claims by proving that an employee was impaired on the job. Gaze provides a defensible mechanism for doing that, while chemical drug tests cannot prove impairment under any circumstances. As acceptance and legalization of cannabis are growing in many parts of the world, it's crucial to examine the potential impact on various aspects of society. One major area of concern is the workplace and what the potential effect of cannabis use is on workers' compensation risk. As more individuals turn to cannabis for recreational or medicinal purposes, it's essential to understand the potential implications for workplace safety and the associated legal and financial implications. As a primer on this discussion, it's important to understand the basics of both workers' compensation and cannabis use. So workers' compensation is an insurance system designed to provide benefits to employees who suffer work-related injuries or illnesses. The risk factors associated with workers' compensation claims can vary depending on the industry and the nature of the work being performed. So workers' compensation insurance rates vary too for this reason. Workers' compensation provides wage replacement and medical coverage for employees injured on the job or ill due to their job. To be eligible, one must suffer a work-related injury or illness and inform the employer immediately. Most states will likely have a short waiting period before benefits kick in. Usually that's a few weeks. Eligibility hinges on proving your injury arose from work activities and not through outside factors or pre-existing conditions. So the severity and type of the injury determines the duration and the amount of benefits, which typically replace a portion of your lost wages and cover approved medical expenses. Of particular note for employees, workplace impairment from drugs is a disqualifying factor for workers' comp benefits. So said another way, if an employer can prove that an employee was impaired on the job, workers' comp payouts can be avoided. Drug impairment can have a significant impact on workers' compensation risk. Workers who are impaired by drugs are more likely to be injured on the job, and they're more likely to file workers' compensation claims. This is because drugs can impair judgment, coordination, reaction time, all of which are important for safety in the workplace. Because of that, many states offer discounts for businesses that adopt workplace drug testing policies. Workers' comp insurance is highly variable by state and industry, but an example of a typical premium discount for adopting a drug testing policy is shown on the screen. In addition, drugs can also interact with certain workplace hazards, making them even more dangerous. For example, workers who are impaired by drugs may be likely to be injured by falls, machinery, or exposure to hazardous chemicals. As a result, employers and employees likewise have a responsibility to take steps to prevent drug impairment in the workplace. This includes implementing drug testing programs, providing drug education and awareness training, and creating a drug-free workplace culture. As everyone knows, cannabis is being rapidly legalized across the world. Unlike alcohol, impairment from THC in cannabis is not black and white. THC can be detected in the body for an extended period of time, and the detection window depends on various factors, including the frequency of use, potency of the cannabis product, and the ingestion method used. THC metabolites can be detected in urine for over a month, while blood and saliva tests can detect use for over a week. Meanwhile, cannabis impairment typically only lasts for about 90 minutes. Alcohol testing primarily focuses on the level of alcohol in the body to determine impairment. This is not the case with cannabis, as testing for THC detects the presence of THC or its metabolites in the body, but does not directly indicate the impairment, only prior use. This is what makes cannabis difficult to manage for employers and why cannabis impairment testing is so important. Drug use on the job can be exacerbated by factors such as physical demands, occupational hazards, supervision, and fatigue that can impair judgment and coordination and contribute to increasing workers' compensation risk. So there's a couple ways that cannabis impairment on the job can increase your workers' comp risk. Those include impaired cognitive function. The active component in cannabis, which is THC, can impair cognitive function, including attention, memory, decision-making. Impaired cognitive function can increase the likelihood of workplace accidents, especially in safety-sensitive industries such as construction, manufacturing, and transportation. It can also reduce motor skills and coordination. Cannabis use can affect motor skills, leading to decreased dexterity and slowed reaction times. In jobs that require precise movements or operating heavy machinery, impaired motor skills can significantly increase the risk of workplace injuries. It can also increase accident proneness. Cannabis use has been associated with an increased risk of accidents, both on job and off the job. Research suggests that individuals who use cannabis are more likely to engage in risky behavior, which can translate into higher workers' compensation claims. And there are also post-injury implications. If an employee is injured while under the influence of cannabis, it can complicate the workers' compensation process, and typically an employee will be ineligible for workers' comp insurance under that claim. Employers may argue that the employee's impairment contributed to the accident and may contest the validity and extent of the claim. This can often result in legal battles and delays in workers' comp for injured workers. Now, several studies have examined the relationship between cannabis use and workplace safety. A study published in the Journal of Occupational and Environmental Medicine found that cannabis users had a higher risk of work-related injuries than non-users. The research highlighted impaired cognitive function, decreased motor skills, and increased accident proneness as significant contributing factors. So just don't use THC on the job. Another study conducted by the National Institute on Drug Abuse, or NIDA, reported that employees who tested positive for cannabis had 55% more industrial accidents, 85% more injuries, and 75% higher absenteeism compared to non-users. Navigating the legal landscapes surrounding cannabis and workers' compensation is complex. While cannabis is legal for medicinal and recreational use in many jurisdictions, it remains illegal at the federal level in the United States and many other countries. This disparity can create legal challenges for both employees and employers. For example, in places where cannabis is legalized for recreational and medicinal purposes, workplace policies may be limited to addressing workplace impairment rather than the mere presence of THC. In some safety-sensitive industries, employers may implement testing policies that include THC screening, and positive tests can lead to adverse employment consequences. Today, some states are starting to enact legislation safeguarding off-duty THC use by employees. So to address the potential risks associated with cannabis use, employers can implement proactive strategies, and some of these include reviewing and updating your policies. Employers should regularly review and update their drug and alcohol policies, ensuring they reflect current laws, regulations, and best practices. As cannabis legalization evolves, it's essential to align workplace policies accordingly to address potential risks while remaining compliant with local regulations. Employers should seek legal counsel to ensure policies are robust and comprehensive. Employers should also establish clear policies regarding drug use in the workplace, including specific guidelines regarding cannabis use. These policies should outline the consequences for violating the rules and provide information on available resources for employees seeking help with substance abuse. Education and training. Employers should invest in training programs that educate employees about potential risks of cannabis use, particularly when they're in safety-sensitive positions. Educating employees on the potential impact to workplace safety can help reduce accidents and improve overall risk management. This includes raising awareness about the impact of impaired cognitive function and reduced motor skills on workplace safety. By fostering a culture of awareness and responsibility, employers can help reduce accidents and improve overall risk management. Impairment testing. Employers should invest in impairment detection technology, which is any technology product that can detect active impairment from drugs or non-drug sources. The National Safety Council defines impairment detection technology, or IDT, as technology with the potential to screen for multiple forms of impairment in order to aid in fitness for work assessments. Impairment can be from drugs, fatigue, prescription medication, or any other reason. Employers should institute random screening on their workers prior to the start of every shift or after lunch breaks. If an employee shows signs of impairment, they would then be drug tested using a traditional chemical test as a way to confirm the findings from the impairment detection technology. Other times that an employer can screen for impairment would be before operating equipment, for job site or facility access, reasonable suspicion, post-incident, and return to duty. GAZE is one example of impairment detection technology that's available today, and we believe it's the most advanced impairment detection technology that's out there. Drug testing. Regular drug testing can be an effective tool to deter cannabis use for safety-sensitive positions in places where cannabis is illegal. In places where cannabis is legal, drug testing may not even be legal for employers to do in the way that they have traditionally done. So make sure you check with your local regulations and contact an attorney. Implementing a comprehensive drug testing program that includes cannabis screening can help identify employees who may be impaired while on the job, but does not necessarily tell you if someone is impaired on the job. Employers should ensure that drug testing policies comply with local laws and regulations and consider the specific needs and characteristics of their workforce. These laws are changing rapidly, particularly where cannabis has been legalized, so again, be sure to check with your attorney. Employee assistance programs. Offering employee assistance programs can provide support to employees who are struggling with substance abuse, including cannabis use. EAPs, as they're often called, can provide confidential counseling and resources for employees who are seeking help. Fostering a supportive environment that encourages these individuals to address their substance use proactively. By offering assistance, employers can help mitigate the risks associated with cannabis use and promote overall employee well-being. So in conclusion, the impact of cannabis use on workers' compensation risk is a multifaceted issue that requires careful consideration. While cannabis legalization has provided new opportunities for individuals, employers must prioritize workplace safety and risk management. By understanding the potential implications of cannabis use, implementing clear policies, providing education and training, conducting impairment screening and drug testing, and offering support through employee assistance programs, and fostering a culture of workplace safety, employers can navigate this complex landscape effectively. By proactively addressing the risks associated with cannabis use, employers can ensure a safer working environment and minimize the potential impact on workers' compensation claims. Thanks so much for your time today. I hope you enjoyed that and it was informative for you. Please let us know if you have any questions and reach out if you'd like to discuss gays.